So it's the real deal. One of one 426 wedge Hemi, 1965 convertible.
All right, we are at Radford Racing School, Phoenix, Arizona. The last Durango that we had on Sick Week, we had 4 Durangos on Sick Week, 2 supplied by Dodge and 2 supplied by Radford. So the one went back to Atlanta, but the other one needed to come back here to Phoenix, Arizona. So B and I hopped in a plane on Saturday morning, flew from Michigan to Jacksonville, Florida, picked up the final Durango and then road tripped it across the country. And 30-hour drive, we did that in 32 hours. So whatever, we're gonna show you around the school, check out some stuff here, and we're gonna take you along the journey because we made some pit stops along the way. Believe it or not, there was some time for a little bit of fun on our way out here. All right, so the journey begins. You ready for this, B? As we make our way to Florida to then pick up the Durango, take it to Phoenix. All right, we are in Jackson, Mississippi at the Vault. So JD Pass's place.
Yes, sir.
So, and we are checking out for an upcoming project. We'll update you on what the project is later, but
it'll be a cool one, I promise you that.
Yeah, but we're on that route coming from, we left Jacksonville, Florida this morning on our way to Arizona with the Radford Durango to take that back and do some racing on Monday. So, but we stopped on the way. It's only a couple hours off the shop. Talked to JD because we talked a couple weeks ago about this car being a possibility. So, and that's what we're taking a closer look at it and seeing if we can twist JD's arm a little bit to help us out. But,
well, he better brought his gun and his knife, that's all I can tell you, because he got me up. It's 9 o'clock at night, and if you don't believe the Vault will take care of somebody, ask them. They drove, made a right-hand turn, and said, I'll be there at 8, 9 o'clock. And what are we doing?
Yep,
we're looking
here.
at cars.
Exactly.
That's what we do.
And he's got a whole warehouse full of cars in here. So this is one we're looking at, but we'll take a look at the other stuff real quick and just see the other cool stuff that's around here. So
if they're nice, I might buy them dinner too.
Yeah, and it's all your collection. This is all.
Yes, sir, pretty much.
So perfect. So that's what we got right now, guys. So we'll update you.
Bill Creech's car.
So
there it is. 454 car. So it's the real deal.
Still has a cast iron exhaust manifolds?
Yes, sir. Just about as right as rain.
See, that's the thing is none of my stuff ever stays anywhere close to original.
Well, I know. and that's where the world's moving a lot of times too, is people want to have their experience. But in my world, how I get a lot of my cars is they go buy this car. Then they set it in the garage and the carburetor comes up because of the fuel. And then next thing you know, they don't know how to work on it. Then the battery's dead. And then they put a cover over it and pile bicycles on top of it. And about 3 years later, 4 or 5 years later, Mama wants her parking spot back in the garage. She's tired of parking out from the tree in the driveway. Yep. And they come and bring it to me. And it's just minor maintenance issues that people don't know how to do anymore. So they want that fuel injection. They want that disc brakes. Yes.
No, I've got a real Talladega, but it's got a twin turbo Coyote in it and a full chassis underneath it or whatever, slammed to the ground. So I ruined an original Talladega, but it didn't have the drivetrain when I got it, so it wasn't.
Well, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I love those Talladegas too, but what you're doing and what you said you wanted to do with the Demon has got my interest peaked, because I would love to see some of that.
Oh wow.
Isn't that cool? One of one 426 wedge Hemi, 1965 convertible. And a Select-O-Matic automatic transmission. You want to talk about something that scoot and go ahead and light up the tire.
Look at how they did those exhaust manifolds to fit that thing in there.
Yeah, to roll it up the way they rolled it up and down the fenders. And what gets me is you look at the fuel lines that are coming off this car and where those carburetors are. And those manifolds coming up like that.
Yeah, how is that?
That would, yeah, it would be heating it up or vapor locking it. A lot of the old Cadillacs and stuff, they would, in all the pre-war, well, even in the 40s, 45 and older Cadillacs, their manifolds are all ceramic coated and stuff and wrapped to try to keep that heat because they were vapor. And you look at this from the factory and you wonder the same thing.
Well, the fuel probably is just continuously pouring in,
yeah.
So it could never.
It never stopped. That's right.
Never has a chance to get hot.
Check the inside of this out.
Dang, that interior is cool.
Isn't it? I just had a Plymouth with a 440 in it that had Betty Boop interior in it. I just got sold it to a man in Texas. These cars are ones that kind of, people are not realizing what they were.
We are at Tucson on our road trip, so we're at Tucson Dragway talking to Jim. So you never know, there could be some drag and drive stuff for the future out here. So we'll see. What do you think, Jim?
I'm all about it. You just tell me where and when you want to do it. We'll put something together and start. People are dying for something going on the West Coast.
Yeah, well, we got Death Week that we got to finish all the planning on and everything. So, but definitely. So, I mean, just such a beautiful facility here. So. And then you've had it now, you said what, for 6 years?
7 years, yeah.
So, great facility, and obviously, like, I mean, Freiburg comes out here and does the duct tape, or now
Duct
it's
tape
zip tie.
drives,
Now
yeah.
it's zip tie.
Zip
Now it's
tie,
zip
now
tie
duct tape,
drags
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah,
like,
we have a blast.
So,
You know, that's the thing we'd like to do out here, just have a good time. So, and you guys have been killing it. Now, when is Death Week going to come out? When is the info on that going to come out?
as soon as we finish booking it, we just got done
Yeah.
with sick week, and then we're still returning the damn last thing
Right.
from sick week, so we're
Right.
still working on that. But then, so yeah, so hopefully soon we're working on finishing the stuff out. I'll be in Vegas next week, so hopefully we can get more details started ironed out. But that should be the goal. That's going to be right after SEMA. So and then, and that'll be a horrible one. I mean, that's one that's probably 400 or 500 miles a day, easy
Right.
to go. It's just bucket list, one and done. So.
Yeah,
So
sounds
then
like
after-
the locations you're describing are,
So
it's going to be awesome.
yeah, we want
Awesome
Pacific
event.
Coast Highway, we want Lake Tahoe, we want Sequoia Forest, and obviously Death Valley. So like those are the big ones, and then we got to find some tracks around there to do some racing while we're doing it. And that's the one that you're an idiot if you try and take anything faster than 850 car on that. That's me saying that. And I've done some dumb stuff. So
Right.
So,
So if I put another Chevelle together, 850
Exactly,
and
there
street,
you go.
2 seats, streetable, that seems to be where the direction of everything's going right now.
That's a good way for you to try and break yourself in, as if your first event would be that, then
Right.
you would probably never do one again.
Right.
So, but,
You know,
so do
that-
one of the ones where we're only going a couple hundred miles a day. Like,
Right, right.
Don't jump into a 500 mile a day one.
You got a AC on your car?
Yeah, we've got these little vent windows that we pop in there,
Right.
and it blows that AC right on you. So,
yeah.
now,
Open
if the
the vent.
temperature's turned up outside, that for some reason the air conditioning's doesn't run as cool, but at night usually it's nice and cool. So
You guys are doing a hell of a job.
cool.
Yeah, really making
Thanks.
a big name for yourself. Whenever you're ready to come down south,
Cool.
we're ready. We'll put some
This
tracks
is west.
together.
Yeah, this is west.
Southwest. Yeah.
Yeah, we followed the Mexican border today, so that was our drive all along, 20 to 10, and
Right.
all night.
Right.
So cool.
That's
Thanks,
great.
Jim.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Ready too. It's been a heck of a journey so far, but we are in Tucson. So we went down drag strip last night, so you guys saw that. But like final leg, hour and a half up to Radford, return their truck back to them. But anybody, this isn't for the faint of heart to do a cross-country trip in a day. So, but we did pull it off. It was a heck of a long day. Our day did go longer than 24 hours, but we did make it. I think we ended up at I don't know, 35, 36 hours by the time said and done, with eating, stopping at the drag strip, stopping in Jackson, Mississippi. But now we'll just finish this leg, get up there, hopefully get on the track up at Radford. So thank you guys. All right, we made it back. So we are at Radford Racing School at White Horse Pass Motorsports Park. So in Phoenix, outside Phoenix, I think Chandler is where we're at. So we completed the journey. We left Saturday morning out of Michigan, flew to Florida, then drove from Jacksonville, Florida, all the way back. We actually were in Tucson last night, as you know, so literally just an hour and a half or whatever away, that we could have finished the journey in one fell swoop, but we did choose to sleep last night. So we did that, but we're gonna go in, see what we can do here, get this last vehicle from Sick Week back to them, and have some fun while we're here.
So yeah, the school started back in 1968 in California, and then it moved over here in the 90s, and it hasn't left since the 90s. We had new ownership take over in about 2018. Kept the name for a while, and then we changed it about 2 years ago when we met our new partners, Radford Motors. So we're the official test track for Radford Motors. They're a coach building company with British roots. So they come down here to test out all their vehicles, shake them down, and then take it back over to headquarters in Newport. But some of the key players in Radford Motors are Ant Anstead, Jensen Buttons. There's a lot of really big names,
Right.
A lot of credibility there. Cool. But yeah, we rebranded back in about 2 years ago, and there's been a lot of changes here.
Gotcha. So basically, but it started 1968 roughly to where we are today.
Yep.
So it's been Radford for about 2 years now. So
Yep,
from
exactly.
the Bondurant.
Yeah,
So.
we just celebrated our 55th year anniversary.
Okay.
A lot of the instructors that we have, you know, Danny Bullock, he's been here he's going on 25 years. William Hawkins, he's going on 25 years. All these guys have been here a really long time. You know, they've been a part of everything. They, you know, they're, how do I put this? they're making sure everything the school was still lives on today.
Okay.
You know, Danny took his first lesson with Bob when he was 15, and now he's the chief instructor here. So it's almost full circle.
Wow.
We got close to 85 SRTs on property. We got about 200 plus acres.
Well, 85 now. You only had 84 until we got here with the one that was still in Florida.
There we go. Yeah.
So now we're up to 85. Cool. But
go.
yeah, no. Let's take a look around.
Yeah.
The place.
Let me just show you guys around. We get a lot of law enforcement. Local Tempe Motorcycle Division. They're out here about once a month on the track, working on their apexes and their handling. But you know, people travel from all over. We've dealt with you know, some Canadian law enforcement, California Highway Patrol. You know, the list goes on and on. So you know, we're super excited to have the pursuit vehicles and be able to use them in the way that they would. So
these here that I'm with are the skid cars. We have a couple of these at M1, but not controlled hydraulically like these are. Basically, we got to pump them up and set them up or whatever, but works on the drifting and the sliding around, basically mimics Michigan. But these are hydraulic actuated, so basically inside the car, the trainer or the instructor can actually raise up the front or the back of the car. So basically to put them into a slide or let the back end spin around and basically basically just helps them with their driving abilities. We get the same thing in the Michigan winter. So, but pretty cool that they got 2 of these here. They said they have a 3rd one somewhere, but there's 2 here right now. So cool stuff out here at Radford.
So Anstead, you know, one of the partners for Radford Motors, he was able to design and build, you know, a car kit for the Tipo 184. He sold one back at Barrett Jackson about 2 years ago. So now what they're doing is, you know, they're rolling out this new program where we'll be able to invite people to build these cars, test them, and then if they want to buy them and take them home, they can. If not, you know, they stay here on to the next class.
80-pound daughter, and 80 pounds and daughter, and 80 pound here, 80 there, 85, 5, 5, 90, and 90-pound daughter, and 90, 95, 5, 5, 95 to get down, 5, 9, 5.
Engines polished and ported, Weber carburetor, electronic ignition. Yes, sir, Mr. Steve.
Ant does nothing but the best. We're honored to have that car. He's absolutely built something special. If you watch that car being built, you'd understand exactly what it is.
So, $100,000 on the interweb.
This is the straightaway. Straightaway takes you down into what we call Maricopa Oval. The Maricopa Oval, you go back in, a little chicane back here, and then it takes you over to the carousel. What's nice is we can block off the main track from the oval, so we'll do a lot of handling drills on the oval. The oval is an increasing radius corner and then a decreasing radius corner, so we're able to teach students you know, early apexes, late apexes, get understanding that before we put them on the track, and we start getting after it.
Okay, so here behind me we have one of the courses here at Radford. This is, I don't even know which course it is, but obviously it's more like a road course, so therefore, I mean, they're doing the cones and basically working on the handling of the car. I do know like that's all about the ballast on the car and shifting the weight and learning how to handle a car with that much power. So I don't know, they got like 6 different things going on at different places, and we are Wild Horse Pass, so drag strip here, so right next to Radford. Radford School's right next door, so this is the strip that they use for the drag racing portion of their program. We believe, as everybody believes, that whatever, this place is going to close. Don't know if it's going to close. Will it stay open? Don't know. I mean, it would be an awesome stop for a 6 style event. So with Tulsa, where we were just at, and then here, basically just a couple hours apart. But should it go away, hopefully somebody else would lease it. It doesn't get torn down. I mean, hopefully it stays a drag strip. But either way, we're here. I've never actually raced on this track, but a beautiful facility. I know the NHRA race this year is supposedly the last official race, I believe, that's coming here. So we'll see. But either way, cool spot. Thanks, guys.
Jesus.
What? Who holds them like that?
Teach me how to hold it then. What was I doing?
Oh, I don't know why it won't work. Jesus. Look at their scissors.
Okay.
So when you hold
look at the
scissors,
blade.
you hold them sideways.
Don't make the handle straight, make the blade straight.
Hold on. Oh, so
Well,
be like
the
that.
handles are with the blade, so
Well,
just...
but they're on an offset, so that's confusing her.
Yeah, well,
I think it's confusing.
I don't know. It's...
Like that?
Something.
Maybe look, just hold them straight to you, just like a pair of scissors.
The other straight. There you go, straight.
Is that right?
Well, looks like you're gonna be here over the weekend. Holy cow.
Hey, Bob.
Okay.
Sherman, the 4 inch or whatever this is off of this.
There you go.
There, I got one.
Good job. There's only 10 more feet of it.
And this is gonna go between the two.
I'm saying next to each other. You talked about trimming that.
All right, so speaking of which,
He said
they are still working on the food truck at the shop. So Durango's gone, so we're back from Phoenix, and food truck's in process till the Durango gets back. We're hoping to get the food truck out of here. So the food truck will be the pizza truck for Sick Pizza. So hopefully it gets done here soon, leaves here. But either way, the other would be the, and EJ's sporting one of the new shirts. So Drag Racing Chill. We got Bobby's got the Home of the Brave, Home of the Free because of the Brave shirt. So new release shirt out.
then you just screw this side properly. Or maybe
And then Aiden's got the shirt we talked about on Sick Week, which is the drag, drive, and dive bars. So that just released on the website. So, and I got the barbecue, which has been out for a while, the barbecue truck shirt. But figure it's a good theme with the food truck being worked on. But give you an update on the pickup truck. So there's been numerous people have reached out with, they've seen it on Facebook Marketplace, they've seen it driving around town. So no clue. So the puzzle in it, like I have seen where it's parked at. So that part of it, and there was a couple things that came up that in our 30-hour drive that B and I talked about, that thinking about was that how was it they couldn't get a hold of me when the truck was taken, but yet in the parking lot of my shop they could get a hold of the new owner to tell him that whatever, that they have his truck. So that seems weird. The other is that why did the cop that day take the keys from me? I still had the keys from the truck. I never sold the truck. They were my keys, whether the truck was gone or not gone, but he said, oh, you got to give me the keys. And I mean, I gave him the keys, but that's just whatever. Some of those added thoughts that make you think about stuff. But so we will see where that goes. And I want to thank everybody, like all the friends out there that are like tracking the truck, watching the truck, and then giving updates on the truck, on everything that they know from around the area. So that part, pretty cool. The amount of you guys out there that have like followed up, and obviously, I mean, we got a call, and I guess that was the other update, is that the actual detective, right after our video went live last week, within 30 minutes, I had left the detective a message the day before. Within 30 minutes of video going live, I got a call from the detective and told me his side of it, which really was nothing other than, yeah, maybe I could have, or maybe I should have tried harder to contact you, like that I just left a message, and whatever. I did go back for the phone records, so, and don't know because it's further back than it would be, and if it went into my spam mailbox or whatever, like that would be automatically erased after 30 days, so I wouldn't even know if there was a message there. So so therefore no easy task on checking that phone record, but I mean, he basically said he only called once, and he definitely could have tried harder to contact me. That's the best that I got out of that phone conversation. So we got that. Oh, there you go, Aiden, turn around, let's see the drag, drive, and dive bar shirt. There you go. Thanks, Aiden. So Bobby, how is the food truck coming? Or food trailer?
It's slow but sure. So as soon as EJ learns to use a pair of tin snips, which, holy.
But when it's done, her fingers are probably going to be all cut up, because I guarantee she runs them on the edge of
Well,
that.
the terrible part is we're going to have to make another one.
Right, because it's not straight.
It's not even close.
There's a line there.
How'd you do it so
Follow
fast?
the line.
You just have to follow the line. So, in the theme of the food trailer, you do have all the barbecue stuff, and so there's some new videos out there. I know Rich is putting out one for St. Patrick's Day recipe, but you do know that we got the sick barbecue and the 6 spices over on the website, that you can get that stuff, get any of the shirts. Obviously, like and subscribe to the channel. So if you like the content we're doing for all you diehards, we're putting the commercial towards the end. So therefore, like, we're trying to like not nail you with telling you about stuff, but we still want to tell you about stuff. So thanks, guys. All right, folks, the other part is the JD story, like with the JD walking around showing the stuff. So we did, some people want to see the other cars we looked at, so we didn't want to bombard you with that whole walkthrough or whatever, but if you want to stay and watch it, we're going to throw that right here, and you can watch the other cars we looked at. A lot of cool stuff there, and JD is just a cool guy to listen to, talk to. He's a cool guy to talk to, but also just to listen to him talk, like, and tell the stories. He's a good storyteller. So there you go, you can watch that stuff.
This is a really neat car. I've owned it twice, and I called a gentleman to search it down for a birthday, and this is a 1936 B12 Lincoln. Only 2 known to exist, myself and Jay Leno own one. Mine's the only one with the quarter drop top. It's a really cool car, and my wife wanted it for her birthday, and so when I found that, I wound up buying some really cool Mustangs. 59 Caddy, what else is there to say?
Well, I know
59
but
Series
everything's
62.
had a story so far, so.
Well, it's not Elvis Presley's or anything like that, if that's what you're asking. And this is a black, fully restored, black on red, Series 62. If it was an Eldorado, it'd be the Holy Grail, but it's not an Eldorado. But it's as close as you get one, and I love Cadillacs. And the fact that I still fit in my Elvis suit, and, you know, Elvis become popular again this year.
Yep.
I kind of rode around the movies and seen if I could pick me a weak one up when they come out of the movie every once in a while. It's a 68 500 GT Chevy. But the cool thing about this one is this was stole from the factory.
Really?
Brand new. Driven 17 miles down the road, and they took the motor out of it. You know how the old Hertz program was, where they take the motors out and they rent them on Saturday, race them, take the motors out and take them back?
Yep.
Well, this is pre the Hertz, but they were stealing the motors out of these cars.
Wow.
And so this is documented in the Shelby registry. So when you pull up to the show, it's not the only Wimbledon white car in the world,
Yep.
but it's the only one with the cool story. The only thing cooler for me in a story like this car would be that Sterling Moss drove it or something like that. Carroll Shelby signed the breather on it, and factory air. Now you never see factory air on a muscle car. Go
So
ahead.
it came from after Shelby did his part. That's where it got stolen.
No. It was
before
it was
went
at
to
Ford factory, coming out of the factory, stolen
Okay.
out of the factory, and went 17 miles down the road, and they found it, recovered it, and then from there it went off. And so it's not a numbers matching car,
right.
because they had to put another motor in it.
Yep.
But it is the coolest story to me, other than, like I said, if Sterling Moss was driving one.
Right.
And so when you pull up to the show, to me, when you buy these cars nowadays, and especially with what's happening in the world and your dollar, you want to buy the best money that you can buy, best quality. But also, if there's a story and attachment documentation that goes with it, that's what the value is.
Right.
It's always going to be worth something because of the story. It's not a big fancy museum, but it's my place.
Oh yeah.
That's the actual car that was in Gone in 60 Seconds. That's Tina. Fresh in.
Yeah.
Every option.
Yeah. Trying to look for a picture of the Durango.
Oh, your Durango? Yes, I've seen it online.
Yeah, it's basically the same. Yeah.
So to me, this is really sweet, and I love the fact that it wasn't built for the street.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
Just enough to get down through that quarter of a mile, make a pass. I love that. So it is a true race car, factory built.
Has this been redone?
Yes, sir. It's been restored.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
A lot of stuff looks pretty original.
Well, the paint's been restored. You know, it's at least don't have the Delco battery in it. You know, it has that fake top on it, which I love to find the old Delco batteries. You can't source parts anymore. You know how that is too. So, a lot of it. I mean, here, that's all the stuff that can be corrected.
Right.
And these are, to me, that's the details. You know, the first thing I look at is the hose clamps and fittings, and you know, you kind of start going from there and start digging. Look at the interior of this car. I absolutely love this thing. You hop in there, sit in that. That's pretty sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like driving your couch.
That's right. But it's going to be a souped up couch. You see my fingerprint on it where I pointed at it. M1. This is basically the same as the drag pack. Kind of what started that whole craze.
So they did 3 prototypes, but those were probably done by a contractor, not Ford? Or
Pretty
did
much.
They do them
Well, I
themselves?
think there was a combination. Okay. Back then, their racing team, you had Ford engineers telling a whole lot of things to do.
Yep.
And then you'd have contractors probably implement that. I've had several Ford racing cars that were factory built. And when you start digging through the documents,
it seems like all the old ones, like, well, at least back in the day,
there we just looked at the street.
Yeah, they would always go to like some tier 1 supplier or whatever, and then once they decided they needed to make 1,000 of them, then it would come in
factory.
house.
Yes.
So, but
and Shelby the same way.
Right.
But this deal here, when they got into the more modern part of it, what you find out when you're doing history is you see a lot of engineers had their hands on it, and there was a lot of outside influence on performance. And Ford would write their big blueprints, and you might even read there where they're having injection with a pencil to make it get unstill. These are their, notes that they have. I had a Pontiac Firebird 455 that was a factory test meal that had those big blueprints and stuff on it, and where they played with the roll center and all those things that they did test.
Really?
They had a street and a strip division in Pontiac, and so mine was the street version. I've even got the original Edelbrock manifold, because the original manifolds were too tall to sit on the hood under that Firebird, so Edelbrock made a short, low-profile manifold for that car. Wow. That was the very first car. Pontiac was a 455 Super Duty, was the first car advertised to put bolt-ons to make it go faster. It was designed to have bolt-ons going.
Jeez.
And so they had a street-to-strip version. So you start digging through all that stuff, you start reading all that, and all the engineers' notes. I mean, I had boxes full of stuff. This is cool.
That's cool stuff.
And this is kind of the same way. You got a big old pile of stuff. Carbide, right? The carbide lamps that the coal miners used.
Yep.
And why did they use it? Because they put out a brighter light. Well, this has the acetylene generator on it to run the bright lights in 1911. These are carbide acetylene lights, but it also has the coal oil lanterns. So you have both, the best of both worlds. And the suspensions are neat too, because, I'm sorry?
How many of these blew up driving down the road?
Oh, I'm not sure. They didn't, you know, they were pretty tough. These little 2 and 3 cylinders are pretty tough.
No, the engines were good.
Oh,
I'm talking
yeah,
about the lamps.
Oh, the lamps and stuff. Yeah, that's why you had to have 2 or 3 different sets to see. But if you look at the suspension, I love these old cars because there was so much technology going on in the suspension. This in here looks like a buckboard wagon suspension, but there behind you in this section, if you notice, look how they pulled the leaf string and axle way out front, so it would travel more and try to soften the ride a little bit. And as you go down through here and look at some of these suspensions, you see my 22 Lincoln has a twin I-beam suspension in it. Yet Henry Ford still kept the Model T, that old helical spring, I can't say it, that nearly bankrupted me, kept it on there till 26. This is a little DeSoto. Now you want to talk about a little hot rod. You as a cat daddy, if you rode around this, if you use probably a moonshiner or doing something illegal in this one, but look, if you look at this car made in the same time period, look at the rake on this car. It sets back with a little muscle stance, and if you notice, it has 2 vents in front of it, so it looks like 2 little eyebrows, rumble seat roadster. So you and your girlfriend and your next couple, you rode out and you were the cat's meow riding around in that now. Isn't that neat?
Just beautiful, like all the stuff that they were able to do with metal back then.
Right, and you just step up in, and people don't realize that a lot of these cars had, like in the Cadillacs, the 30 Cadillacs, 1929 30 Cadillacs, they had lockout. You pushed the key in and locked it, and it would lock the car in first gear, so they couldn't quietly steal it and roll it down the driveway at night. You know, anti-theft in 1929, 1930. This is a really neat little car. Of course, everybody knows what a motometer is. But this is a Hudson pre-Oldsmobile. This is a sweet little car right here. This is a 20, I believe it's 29, is that correct? I can't remember. Yeah, 29. This is a 29 Durant. So if you know, History Channel's been talking about the history of the automobile. Do you remember the name Durant?
Yep.
Well, Durant was hired by Chevrolet. Since you're a Chevrolet fan, Chevrolet twice to try to compete with Henry Ford, just to build a couple of cars that could afford to compete with the Ford at $600. You know, Model T's were selling, Model A's were selling, or excuse me, Model T's and Model A's were selling between anywhere from $300 to $600 at the time. This car sold for $1,300, and he had a great design. He could build a great car, but the powers to be at Chevrolet didn't give him enough time. They fired him the first time for the same thing, and the second time was in 1929. It's one of the last cars he built. But look how sexy this car is. I mean, the appointment. Yes.
So you look at the mirrors mounted to the spare tire.
Yeah, on the side mounts, and just the way these cars were put together. And I mean, jump up in that car, open that door, and sit in this car. Just feel how big this car is.
I can see the leg room. It's like insane.
But this car was built to compete with the Cadillacs and stuff that were selling for $4,000 or $5,000 at the time. At the high, you know, just during the Depression and pre-Depression.
It's just crazy the amount of leg room.
Yes.
It's got the sports almanac. Truly Back to the Future.
And your hoverboard. Now this is a running. Everything in here runs and drives, by the way. And what I like about this truck is it's the way it was put together. Not only this one of one, but if you look up in the top and you see the wood in the top of the cab, and you look at the down plate. This was a working man's truck in 1924. But look at that top, and then the sliding windows in the back. But here's what's so neat is I've got an actual top in the back that matches that will go over the top of this. So if you were carrying produce, you had shade. And it looks just like that on the inside. So when you put it all together, it really looks cool. But we drive in parades and stuff with it. But this is a man's truck right here. Now you talk about driving, having a handful, go getting this one. 1924 Wilcox.